I have earnings of $15,000 this year. And for $1,782 coming out in child support, that's more than my checks would be. That's more than I made for the year. And my son has been living with me pretty much all summer, and he moved in full time last week.
You know, my kids are grown now, but I can remember this type of situation vividly. If you've been to family courts, you can probably relate to this clip as well. You almost feel like you're awaiting sentence, and that's not far from the reality of it. When a man gets divorced, people say, just be a good dad, take care of your responsibilities, do the right thing. But here's what they don't tell you: no matter how much you earn, no matter how much you give, the court has already made up its mind. You're guilty. You're male. You're guilty of not paying enough. You're guilty of not earning enough. You're guilty of not being enough. And until you're broke, broken, or behind bars, they will never stop coming for you. Now, some may hear me say that and get upset, but how many mothers do you see in this situation? Ever? Incidentally, I couldn't play the whole clip here, but the son had come to live with the dad full time, and the mother had no job. And she was never asked why. She wanted more in child support in spite of what his actual income was. But that's the game. The divorce industrial complex. Divorce isn't just painful, it's very profitable for lawyers, for the courts, and especially for the state. Once the divorce is filed, the machinery really kicks in. One parent is picked to raise the child, the other becomes the ATM. Guess which role men usually get? In over 90% of custody cases, the mother is awarded primary custody. The man, he becomes the non custodial parent, which essentially means financial provider with absolutely no authority whatsoever. But it gets worse. My own experience. My ex refused to co parent, refused to abide by the terms of our custody agreement, refused to keep me abreast of the children's doctor's appointments and schooling and things of that nature. She refused to co parent on major decisions. She would make decisions completely unilaterally and purposely leave me out of them. This was not supposed to be the arrangement. Now, I would argue with her. I would copy and paste part of our custody agreement into an email and send it to her saying, Judge so and so ordered you to do this, this, and this. It was ignored. Why? She knew that without me taking her back to court, there wasn't much I could do about it. The truth is, a divorced father can't hire an attorney when he's already drowning financially. How many divorced fathers are in a similar situation? It's maddening, isn't it? Let's talk about imputed income, the money you don't even earn. Let's say you lose your job. Let's say you take a lower paying role to be closer to your children or maybe to spend more time with them. The court doesn't care. They'll impute the income. What that means is they pretend you earn more than you actually do. Yeah, you heard that right. They will assign a fictional salary based on your potential or past earnings and demand you pay support as if you're making that amount now. Let's say, for example, you made $80,000 a year 2 years ago, but you got laid off and now you make $45,000 a year. They still base child support on the $80,000 a year, and you owe the difference. You are literally punished for not being a high earning machine. And if the economy tanks or your industry collapses, the company gets acquired, it doesn't matter. This isn't support, it's extortion disguised as justice. Some of you may remember there was a story a few years ago of Canadian comedian actor Dave Foley.
I'm not sure if my life would make a good sitcom. It would make a great one-hour drama on Lifetime. The family law system in Canada is horribly broken. And I'm not the only man who's been ordered to pay more than he earns or go to jail. Basically, the only way I can pay the child support that I'm ordered to is to have a weekly sitcom. I need to earn at least $1 million a year. You know, I have to pay $17,700 a month. But yeah, no, I was ordered by Canadian court to pay, like, what at that point was about 5 times my income every month in child support, which was based on my earnings when I was doing news radio. And I don't know if you've checked the listings. It hasn't been on for 12 years. The premise of the court system in Canada is that children should continue to live at the same standard of living that they were at the point of separation, no matter what. And which is patently insane, because if the marriage had stayed together and income dropped, the children's lifestyle would change with the parents. But the court system in Canada believes that because the family has split up, those children should never experience any change, ever. And it doesn't matter if the man isn't making money, he's still supposed to pay and keep them at that level, that lifestyle, no matter what. And if you don't earn money, the court's attitude is, well, earn more.
I know that clip was long. I appreciate you staying with me. Now, my understanding is Dave Foley cannot return to his home country of Canada because they will put him in jail for the child support he owes. Now, this is not just in Canada. It happens here in the States, Australia, and the UK. You can't pay? Too bad. It's jail for you. Let's say you fall behind on payments. Not because you're irresponsible, but because the court decided you owe more than you actually make, like in Dave Foley's case. Now the penalties kick in. License is suspended, wage garnishment, assets are seized, and possibly jail time. Over 20,000 men are imprisoned in the U.S. each year for child support arrears. Let that sink in. You can go to jail for being too poor to pay money you never actually earned. And guess what? While you're locked up, the payments don't stop. You just fall further and further behind. This isn't enforcement, this is debt slavery. And once you're in the system, it doesn't want reform, it wants compliance. Now, I know some are going to bring up deadbeat dads. Yes, there are deadbeat dads. That is a small percentage of the dads out there versus the majority of men who are good fathers, hardworking dads who are simply trying to make ends meet and survive. But they're up against an impossible standard. As a divorced dad, the expectations placed on you are inhuman. You're expected to maintain a full-time employment, pay child support on time, pay spousal support in many cases, even if she left the marriage, pay for health insurance, daycare, extracurriculars, and still have enough left over to survive. Meanwhile, you might only get to see your children every other weekend, if that. And many fathers are blocked from seeing their children and are being alienated by their mother as well. Parental alienation is rampant in our society against fathers. It was perpetrated on me. But don't you complain. Don't you protest. Because society will tell you if you were a real man, you'd handle it. Now, here's the truth. No man was built to carry a family's worth of expenses while being excluded from the family itself. I shared with you my own story in Rigged Against Men. I was ordered to continue to pay an exorbitant amount of child support to a trust fund millionaire, as well as other expenses as well. You know, this is one of the reasons why I started Resilient Man Channel, to help other men like you watching. I get it. I understand what you are going through. Quite frankly, I feel it's criminal. But they want you broke, not balanced. Now, why is that? Why doesn't the court care if you as a man go bankrupt? Why do they refuse to lower child support even when you're in crisis? Because they don't want you stable. They want you in survival mode. They want you scared, quiet, and always working. Because a man under this much financial pressure cannot fight for custody. He cannot afford a lawyer. He can't push back. I was there myself, and she knew it. She counted on it. That's why she thumbed her nose at the custody agreement. She knew there wasn't anything I could do about it. The father just pays. The system doesn't need you to succeed. It needs you to submit. And if you try to represent yourself, if you dare to challenge the numbers, you're labeled as angry, you're hostile, you're dangerous. But who's really dangerous here? The father trying to stay in his child's life, or the courts that sees fatherhood as a mere transaction? If you are currently separated and or going through a divorce, you may have been told the system is about fairness, child support is about love, the court is here to protect the kids. None of that is real. The system is not designed to protect fathers at all. It is designed to profit from you. If you're a man going through it, know this: you're not crazy, you're not alone, and you're not weak for struggling. You're up against the machine, fueled by money, masked by fake morality, and designed to break you down slowly. You need to stop blaming yourself, stop expecting fairness in a rigged system, and start playing the game smarter. Protect your assets as best as you can. Limit your exposure as best you can. Educate your sons as they come up as well. Because in a system that sees you as guilty until proven broke, your best defense is awareness. They see you as cash. Don't let them take your soul as well. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Support Resilient Man channel. Hit that subscribe button for me right now. It's about men advocating for men. Share your story in the comments if you're going through a similar situation right now. Share this content with a brother who needs to hear this message as well. Stay unbroken. Stay resilient. Know your worth. Protect your peace.